Today in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you all 15 signs that you are sabotaging yourself and coming in your own way of becoming your highest potential self. Number one is resistance. So whenever there is a new project that has to be started, there is a sense of feeling of resistance for doing that particular project and taking action. The more and more you try to ignore this feeling of resistance, the more and more it will come in your face, and it will make it difficult for you to do that particular activity. You will always feel a sense of dissonance while doing that particular activity, and you will do that particular activity with conflicting feelings. So you'll never end up getting the results that you had always desired for at the end of that particular project. So all your efforts and everything will go in vain because of this resistance feeling. So the best way to tackle this feeling of resistance is to pause and reflect why there is a sense of resistance in doing that particular activity. Why there is not that feeling of let's get it done, let's do this particular activity, and excitement for doing that particular task. That is something that you need to identify, and you can do that by journaling on some prompts that can help you understand why there is a feeling of resistance for that particular project. Is it something that you do not want to do and you have set that particular goal or a project by getting inspired by someone around you or from social media? Because if it wouldn't have been your truest self that was excited for that particular project, you wouldn't feel the sense of resistance. So the best way is to first pause, reflect, and understand why there is a feeling of resistance for doing that particular activity. And then move on after this feeling of resistance is solved. So while you are journaling, you will realize, and it will make you understand what is stopping you and resisting you for doing that particular activity. And once you solve that, you will be doing that particular activity with all sense of excitement and let's get it done attitude. So the number one thing is stop resisting in taking actions and doing it with all confidence. Number two is constantly hitting your upper limit. Now, this is a feeling when you feel saturated very quickly and very early. Now, this often comes from a place where you are experiencing burnout and telling yourself and suppressing your emotions that are telling you. First, your emotions will whisper, and then slowly and gradually they'll start getting louder and louder. And there will come at a point where it will lead to total breakdown and burnout and outburst of emotion. So it's good to actually constantly taking breaks, scheduling time for time outs, and productively resting to bounce back even with more energy every time. Also, this could mean that you should take it slow in terms of transition. Now, I totally understand when you're super excited about a project, you straight away want to jump into it, but your brain doesn't process change so quickly. So it's good to actually fade into a change rather than just straight away jumping into it. So the number two is not hitting your upper limit again and again and taking it slow, resting out a little bit, and then slowly and gradually transitioning into from one phase to another. Number three is uprooting yourself very quickly. Now, this could mean jumping from one project to another, one relationship to another, one city to another, one job to another. Today, I feel this is my passion. Today, I feel that is my passion. This is because you're getting too inspired from people around you and you think their goals are your goals. No, it's not like that. You might take inspiration from social media or people around you, but their goals cannot be your goals. You cannot do it because someone else is excited to do it. Because when it comes to actually doing that particular task and taking that particular path, it becomes very difficult. And when the goal has been inspired from someone else, you are not as excited about the journey and the path, and which is why the first place resistance set in. And when you actually journal out on all of these pointers that I'm going to be talking about, that is when you will realize that half of the things that your mind tells you should be doing is because you have watched someone else do it. And that is not something will help you to be your highest potential self. You need to be able to figure out and scrutinize what are your goals that you actually want to achieve, and what are some of the goals that you might have taken inspiration from someone and you think are your goals. And I feel I am actually the living example of it, because I used to feel that, okay, this guy is doing this looks cool, and I also want to do it. And slowly and gradually, when I was actually doing it, I was not so happy in the path, and I used to leave it midway and always used to beat myself up that I cannot finish anything. It's not that I cannot finish anything, it's just that that's not my goal. That's a goal that I have derived from someone that will make me look cool and smart. And today, I do not care about half of the goals that I had set for myself. I slowly and gradually started weeding out all of those goals, and now I am very crystal clear on my goals. Earlier, I used to feel, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm working on this project, I'm working on that project. It makes me look so cool. I'm super busy and such a good achiever and multi-passionate person. But it was not like that. I was just taking inspiration from everyone and telling myself, okay, these are my goals. But right now, when I started weeding them out, I was only left with few goals which I actually cared about. And today I feel so happy that I am actually doing those things which makes me super happy and are my goals. I would tell you that there are only a handful of goals that I'm actually working on, and I feel super happy because I have time for my family, I have time to work on myself, I have time for a lot of different things which I earlier did not have. And in that process, I waste a lot of energy and a lot of money on those projects. So the idea here is be crystal clear on what your goals are, and you cannot decide them in just fraction of seconds. You have to sit on them, you have to sleep on them. You also have to tell yourself, is this something that you are inspired from someone else and you want to do it, or this is actually something that you want to do? Chances are, if you are getting inspired, you'll forget about it in just 2 or 3 days. But if you are equally excited about it, you will be at it and you will be thinking about that, and that would surely be your goals. Like, for example, I all the time think about growing my YouTube channel. It's always running in my back of the mind, and that is something that I'm super excited about, and which is why I take actions in order to be at my goals and film extra on the days where I have a lot of time and where I have a lot of energy to film. So be crystal clear on your goals. You cannot be jumping from one thing to another and reaching a destination. Just imagine a plane has set out to reach from place A to B, and every destination comes in the middle way. The plane lands and then takes off, and then lands and then takes off. How much time do you think it is going to take for that plane to reach from point A to B? If it landed at every destination or at every city it went from, it would take years to reach from point A to B. Whereas the road would be just maybe, let's say, 2 hours if it went straight. So now get to the point that you cannot be jumping from one place to another. That's a very bad way of coming in your own way and sabotaging yourself. Number 4 is perfectionism. I will start when all of the things are correct. I will start when I will have the best of the camera. I will start when I will have the best of the lighting. Okay, even if I have started, I have created a video, I will only post it when the editing is top notch. No, it's not going to work like that. You are going to be learning to edit and learning to create videos as and when you make videos. The more videos you make, the more you will understand. The more videos you make, the more you'll understand about the script, the structure, the storyboarding, the editing styles, and the topics that people are watching. You cannot be thinking, okay, I've learned about everything and now I'm going to make a video which is going to get millions of views and it is going to get me the things that I desire. No, that is perfectionism. That's coming your way of becoming your highest self. What do you think? I have made hundreds of videos on YouTube. Do you think this video that I'm making and the video that I made first were the same videos? No, they were not. I can attach a clip over here. This was my first video. It's not available on the internet, but now you can see if I hadn't made that shitty video, I wouldn't be making this video. And I'm gonna be super glad that the next 100 video that I make, I'm going to be calling this video shitty. Because that's the entire process. You learn and you grow and you evolve as and when you do a thing. You become an expert by doing things, not by just thinking about an expert and, sharpening all your tools and thinking of making a perfect video or thinking of making a perfect project report or anything that you have set your mind on. Number 5 is having limited emotional processing skills. We all meet people, circumstances, situations that make us feel low or it doesn't go according to us. Or we always meet people who are not wanting the best for us and they just have their opinions thrown out at us. And we all have people around us who throw their opinions at us and feel, okay, we are entitled to take it and we are entitled to believe it. The best way is to process that information and process those emotions and not let those emotions ride our thoughts because they speak with their own filter. We listen with our own filter. What they are saying cannot change our reality. But if they influence our thoughts, they get into our head and their conversation becomes our conversation. Like, for example, someone says, I make such a bad video. And I'd start telling myself, oh, I make such a bad video. It is going to affect my videos and eventually it will reflect in my videos. But if someone says on my comments, oh, your video is such boring. And I tell myself, oh, I make amazing videos. Guess what I'm going to be doing? Making more and more amazing videos. I do get comments which come and say, you should do this and you should do that and this is how you should do it. I appreciate feedback, but I do not appreciate someone coming on my comments and telling me, oh, it's a boring video. It was your decision to watch it and it is my decision to create it. I will create videos for those who actually care about being their highest potential selves and they only care about what can get them to become their highest potentials. Nothing in between. And if you do not have high processing skills, slowly and gradually these conversations will get into your head and slowly and gradually they will start dictating your behavior. And when it will come in your behavior, it will become your destiny. And that is not something that you want. So have a filter on. Take constructive feedback in, work on that, use that to become your highest self, filter out all of the negative things and opinions that weigh you down to become your highest self. Number 6 is not taking action. Your life is measured with the actions that you take and not the intentions that you set. You can set goals, plan for everything, but when it comes for taking action, you do not take any action. So all your goals, all your planning goes in waste and you are where you are already because you cannot just dream about getting somewhere and be there. In order to be where you want to or you have set your goals, you have to take actions. So the bridge is actually the actions that you take on a consistent and on a daily basis. And only if you are not taking the first step, you will always be where you are. The reason could be anything. Maybe you're not very inspired. Maybe you're too scared of being uncomfortable. You need to identify that. You need to start journaling on that particular prompt. What is stopping you to take actions? Is it something that is not that you want? That is only something that you will realize when you start journaling on that prompt. Number 7 is disorganization. A clean, organized state of mind and environment is actually a good point to start your day on a very healthy and a productive note. But all that you do is just mess things around and never organize stuff around you. It could be on your laptop, on your phone, your physical environment, your cupboard, your bathroom, your office, everything is messed up. You will end up messing a lot of things in life. So if you feel you're always confused, you're always overwhelmed, guess what? You need to start decluttering your mind and your physical space. Your best selves deserves being in the best of the environment and stop saying that you do not have time for that. You have time for each and everything in the world. It's a constant narrative that we keep telling ourselves that, okay, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. But actually, those are the things that are coming in our way of becoming our highest selves. Everything should have a home. Like, for example, each and every clothing piece that you own, each and every bag that you own should have a home. And if it doesn't have, it's now time to declutter and give away things or move into a newer or a bigger space that will have a home for each and everything. Number 8 is getting attached to a lot of things which you don't really want. When we get attached to things, that is when we should understand that our inner child is traumatized from that particular experience, and now it's time to actually practice non-attachment from that particular thing. Certain times when we feel that, okay, we cannot function without a cup of coffee in the morning, that means you're feeling attached by the feeling of having a coffee, or maybe attached feeling from the house that you live. When you practice non-attachment, that is when you feel a little liberated. So the things that we cling on oftentimes come in our way of becoming our highest selves. So guess what? If I were living in the same home all my life and never moved out, guess what I'm attached with? I'm attached to this particular house. I'm not attached to the house, but I'm attached to the version of me who is living in that particular house. So to be my highest self or to be my best selves, it's now time to detach from this house and from this version of myself so that I can build a version of myself who is super proud of myself and is my highest self. So this stands true for not only the house, but also several things around us that we feel attached to. It's time to now pause and reflect and ask ourselves, why do we feel attached to a certain thing, a certain place, or a certain situation, or a certain feeling? Number 9 is judging others. You should never be bonding with a person by judging the third person. That's a strict no, because that is something that is coming in your way of becoming your highest self. You are starting to be in a surrounding where people talk about other people. That's the worst place to be in. You should always be among those people who are talking about ideas, who are talking about uplifting things. You should never leave a group angry and exhausted. You should always leave a group meeting or a get together feeling energized and inspired. And if you do not feel like that, then girl, you are in the wrong group. It's now time to detach with these people and find yourself a tribe that boosts yourself and boosts your work in ways that makes you feel motivated and pushes you to become your highest self. Initially, you might take time to find such tribe and you might feel lonely and you might want to go into that comfort zone wherein you want to go back to those people who do not understand what you are up to. But if you go there, you will slowly and gradually be that version always and never come out of your shelf and rot in that particular version of you. So find yourself a tribe that boosts you and motivates you to become your highest self. Number 10 is pride. We should never let pride come our way of becoming our highest self. If we are being proudy, it's now time to pause and reflect and understand, where is this pride and the feeling of proudiness coming from? Are we feeling highly of ourselves? So there is a difference between feeling highly of ourselves and being proud. I'm totally up for someone who is feeling highly, but I'm totally against the feeling of being proudy. Pride is a negative emotion that you thirst upon someone, trying to tell the other person what you are not. Pride comes from a place of emptiness, and your high sense of self-worth comes from a calm confidence. And there is a slight difference between that. Identify that, and if you are finding yourself being proud, journal what is making you feel like that. Number 11 is the guilt of being successful. Often in our childhood, we have been told that a successful person is someone who is bad, because oftentimes people around us are super jealous of someone else's success. And we do not want to be that person. We do not have to be jealous of other person's success. Instead, we need to look at it the way that if so-and-so person can do it and it is achievable, that means it gives me a path and a motivation that something like this can be done. That is something that I need to look at, and that you also need to look at that way. So whenever I look at any creator who has millions of followers, who's doing so well with his or her content, I never feel jealous. I always feel, okay, someone is able to do it, this is possible, and I think this is even possible for me. If the other person is creating content and is actually getting an audience to watch that kind of content, their audience exists and they'll also be watching my videos. That is something that you need to approach as for your goals and for your career as well, and you should not feel guilt in being successful. So I've seen a lot of people who go into these parties and everyone is boasting about them, and they always feel a guilt. Okay, I've not achieved so much, I've not done so much. I also used to feel like that when I used to go into like family get-togethers, and someone used to come up and tell me, okay, you've done so nicely, you've completed PhD, this, that. And I always used to feel a sense of guilt. Am I looking so successful to other person? But I'm not feeling as of yet. And we always have that kind of feeling. We never feel successful because we feel that being successful is guilty, because we have been taught in our childhood that someone who is successful has actually done something wrong to be there, and no one can be successful until and unless they have did something wrong or used shortcuts and all of that. You can be successful, and you have to take all pride and all credits of being successful because you did a lot of hard work to be there. It's now time to actually own it. And there is a very thin line of being having overinflated egos and being guilty about success, and being guilty about looking successful and always downplaying your achievements and yourself. Number 12 is the fear of failing. You never started because you always thought that you would fail and you wouldn't do your best and you would never sail the boat that you thought you would. This is the biggest way of sabotaging yourself. Coming to a conclusion even before taking an action. In life, you either win or you either fail. There shouldn't be a word named failure in a dictionary, because you never fail. You always learn. And if you're always winning, that means you're not learning. So it's good to learn on few situations and win in certain situations in life. And failure is a part of winning as well. You cannot win if you haven't failed, and if you can't fail if you haven't won. These are the two sides of goals that will always be there, and appreciate all the times, the good ones and the bad ones. Number 13 is downplaying yourself, not giving yourself enough credit for the things that you have done. Always sabotaging yourself, your achievements, and self-doubting yourself. Not the way you are going to achieve big things while self-sabotaging yourself. Number 14 is being with wrong people and being in bad company. Watching negative content, being around people who always talks about other people, who always brings you down and never truly motivate you. And guess what you'll be becoming? The same person. Remember, we are equal to 5 people whom we are with. You always want to be people who talks about success, talks about healthy habits, talks about achieving, talks about growing. You cannot be growing with people who are constantly stagnant or slowly and gradually moving down in life. And lastly, being busy. You constantly tell yourself that, oh, I'm busy for this, oh, I'm busy for that. I don't have time for myself. I don't have time to go on a walk. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to cook a healthy meal, and all of those things. You cannot be busy. You can always have things on your plate to do it. So these were the 15 ways that you are sabotaging yourself and coming in your own way of becoming your highest self. So if any of these behaviors are something that you are experiencing, it's time to pause and reflect and journal on the prompts to understand why you are doing that, and stop being in your own way of becoming your highest self. So yeah, that was it for this video, guys. Let me know in the videos, how did you like this video? And if you'd want to watch more such videos, I'll be super happy to create them. So yeah, that was it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Till then, bye-bye.